So let's go on to the move on to the next part of this article here. All right, next. When when you share this part, or when you sorry, when you share this that a part of the population is going to side with the women who threw trash at you. You know that they will come up with every excuse to remove that huge part of the incident and make this about you standing up at a concert, quote unquote, blocking someone's view. Yes, yes, that is true. Like a lot of times the media does kind of like take things out of the story or not include things in the story, run in a certain way. Kind of like in the Colin Kaepernick situation where like people aren't addressing the reason that he has stated that he is kneeling or sitting. Well, I think it's at this point he's kneeling during the national anthem. People aren't addressing the reason why, you know, he's doing that. People are addressing everything but the reason why he's actually doing that, even though he has been very specific in the reason why he's doing that. Um, but another video for another day. Let's see. You know that a lot of the media will not even mention the trash being thrown at you with your 11-year-old son being present. That is true. That is true. You know. I feel like if it was the other way around, let's say Solange was doing this to a mother and her child, and she wasn't Solange Knowles. Let's say she was just like random black concert goer 001. Yeah. And she was doing this. I think that people would be coming after her, more so than the white woman getting trash thrown at her, if it was the other way around. You feel that the headline would be XYZ goes to a concert and gets trash thrown at them if it were some of your other non-black peers in the industry. Yeah, it would be. It would be like that. You constantly see the media having a hard time contextualizing black women and men as victims every day, even when it means losing their own lives. That is totally true. She totally took it there. Because, yeah, there have been so many black men and black women who are victims every day. But when the media gets a hold of their stories, it doesn't seem like they paint them as victims. They seem to like paint them as like, I don't know, like they're definitely not victims though. They kind of paint them as like people who are possibly asking for it. Even though if white people were doing the same thing, they would give them humility and say like, oh, they made a mistake, or we shouldn't be so hard on them, and we all have a past, and just making excuses. They don't seem to grant black people humanity and give black people or include black people in their morality. Like, I don't think white people as a whole seem to have morality towards black people, Let's see. You don't care that in that moment because you understand that many of your followers will understand and have been through the same type of thing many a times. And if it means them hearing you say it's okay, you will rise again throughout these moments. Then it means something bigger to you. You realize that you never called these women racist, but people will constantly put those words in your mouth. That's true, that's true because, again, jumping back to the Colin Kaepernick situation, a lot of people are saying that Colin Kaepernick is like kind of like saying things that he has not said, saying that he's doing this to disrespect veterans or something like that, which is totally not true. As well, a lot of people are saying that Colin Kaepernick is racist, and as far as I know, Colin Kaepernick has never called out any particular race of people. But a hit dog will holler. You know, what you did indeed. Well, what you did indeed say is, quote unquote, why is it that many black people are uncomfortable being in predominantly white spaces, and still stand true to that? So you and your friends have been called the N-word, been approached as prostitutes, and have had your hair touched in a predominantly white bar just around the corner from the same venue. Wow. I'm sorry that she had to go through that. But yeah, it's like a fascination. Also, but it's like you need to respect people's personal space. If you need to ask if you want to touch someone's hair, you need to ask them first. Really, I don't think, unless you really know the person well enough, you probably shouldn't be touching someone's hair, especially if you don't know the person like that. I don't know why people decided to call Solange and her friends the N-word. They've been approached as prostitutes, maybe because they were like in a majority white area. So it's like, well, it's like, the only way you can be here is if you're a nanny or a prostitute, and that is, pretty insulting because black women are more than just, nannies and prostitutes, Granted, there are black nannies, keep it real, and there are black prostitutes, again, keep it real, but black women, by and large, are more and much more than just those things, Um, and for me personally, no, I don't associate black women with prostitution, but I think in the mind of some white men, perhaps, which speaks to a big issue, which probably goes all the way back to slavery, the association of probably just black people in general with like a sex or like a sexual fetish, All right. So let's go on to the next part of this article. The statement you made makes headlines funny enough just days after it comes to light that Air China warns their flyers not to go into India, Pakistan, or black neighborhoods in order to stay safe. While Texas schools are fighting to have textbooks calling Mexicans lazy removed from classrooms, and while Native Americans are doing everything they possibly can to protect their sacred land from an oil pipeline being built on graves of their descendants. I didn't even know about that. Yeah, you notice that some of these news stories do not make the news. Like some of these stories do not get hyped up in the media. The media is really strategic in that way, because ultimately I think the media is pretty much like a tool of white supremacy. Let's keep it real. Let's see. That people of color's spaces are attacked every single day, but many will not be able to see it that way. That's true. Whenever they get a hold of this stuff, they just try to spin it, make it seem like, oh, well, it's not really a big deal, they're over exaggerating, etc., etc., etc. All right. Next, this also comes during the time that the Housing Authority of New Orleans has declared a federal mandate plan to assist with helping to protect black neighborhoods, stating that previously black neighborhoods on higher ground are now majority white are moving in that direction. And not too long after an announcement is made that a former Ku Klux Klan leader is running for Louisiana senator. You also know where you live. I didn't even know about this either. Like, see, like these stories do not make the news. At least the news I'm looking at, I'm not hearing about these stories, you know. And I do, to be fair, I don't really look at the local news as much, but I do be on like, you know, YouTube looking at different folks posting their stories and stuff. And so far, I haven't even heard of this story, you know. Um, so you know, kudos to Solange for shedding some light on this stuff that's happening, you know. Let's see. You are also fully aware that, well, fully aware now that you use your platform consistently to speak out on social, racial, and feminist issues that people who have no awareness of your work outside of gossip sites and magazines, some of which who are most likely voting for Donald Trump, have been starting to engage and or target you in public and social media in regards to race. Okay, so I guess I didn't even know that Solange was like I knew, but I didn't know. I guess like I felt like I got that vibe from her, but I just didn't hear anything specific about what she was saying about these issues. Yeah, when you do stuff like that, you know, do use your platform to speak out on like discrimination and oppression and stuff like that, you do become a target. And it's sad to see that people are targeting Solange in public and in social medias because of her race. All right, next. And yes, having white people constantly call you the N word or say you and your people are degenerates that need to leave America or zoo like animals surely does not help you feel more comfortable in predominantly white spaces. That is true. You know, she's keeping it real. Um, yeah, I don't know why these people are saying the N word so much. I don't know why. I don't know why that word is still coming out of their mouth. Yet I'm pretty sure if these people were asked if they were racist, they'd be like, "No, I'm not a racist." Yada yada yada. And they're degenerates that need to leave America. Well, last time I checked, the degenerates founded America, so I don't think you know one should be judging the other if one lives in the glass house. You know what I'm saying? And also to be, you know, to keep it real, white people are not indigenous to the Americas in any way, shape, or form. You know, they're not indigenous to North America, South America, Central America, Latin America, United States of America, any America. You know, white people are indigenous to Europe. Um, so I don't think white people should be, you know, telling anyone to leave because, you know, this land is originally belongs to the indigenous population. Even though they are not in control, it is rightfully their land, and they are the true indigenous population. Granted, you know, they're not in power, and their land was stolen from them through violence and genocide and disease and whatnot. You know, but we all know the truth. We know the truth. You know, so that's just trying to be more respectful, you know, and not say leave if you disagree with what someone has to say, especially if they're speaking truth, you know. Um, let's see. Next, you read headlines that say, quote unquote, Solange feels uncomfortable with white people, and you want to use the classic, I have many white friends, or quote unquote, half of my wedding guests were white line to prove that you do not dislike white people, but dislike the way that many white people are constantly making you feel. Yet you know no amount of explaining will get you through this type of person, will get through to this type of person in the first place. Yeah. Um, so I think in this situation, it's like people are just saying, trying to create a narrative and just saying like Solange is uncomfortable with white people versus saying, you know, Solange is uncomfortable with, you know, discrimination. She's uncomfortable with microaggressions. She's uncomfortable with the unconscious bias of white people. No, they just put like she's uncomfortable with white people. You know, like just making her out to be like the villain. You know, putting it on her, all on her. You know, it's all on Solange. You know, and it's another tactic. You know, white supremacist tactic. It's not fair. You know, it ain't right. But that's the situation. You know. Let's see. You have lived a part of your life in predominantly white spaces since you were a kid, and even had your third grade teacher tell you, quote unquote, what a nigger is in front of your entire white class. You watched your parents trying to explain why this was wrong to her, and learned then it can be virtuously impossible to get your point across. Okay, so I'm guessing this teacher was ignorant, and she. It's strange, like you an educator, but you don't want to be educated. You know, she could at least, her teacher could at least say, you know what, I apologize. I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't mean to make you feel like you were out of place in this classroom. You know, you are, you know, a part of this class. We want you to feel like you belong here. I apologize. And, just make more efforts to make her feel included. It's not that difficult. Like, sometimes folks particularly white people, be making this seem like it's so difficult to be like a decent person, and to end oppression and discrimination and stuff. It's not that difficult. Don't do it. It's not like it's not that difficult. And if you do, and if there are white people doing it, hold them accountable. Take them to task, punish them, shame them. Speak out against them. Don't speak out against people who are speaking out against oppression and discrimination. Let's see. All right, so we're getting to the final part of this article. We're almost done here. Let's see. After you think it's all over, you know that the biggest payback you could ever had, the biggest payback you could have ever had, after, go figure, they decided they wanted to stand up and dance to the songs they liked, was dancing right in front of them with my hair swinging from left to right, and my beautiful black son and husband and our dear friend Rashad jamming the hell out of the rhythm our ancestors blessed upon us, saying, "We belong, we belong, we belong, we built this." Bam. So yeah, that's the end of the article. And, I think that was a pretty interesting article that Solange wrote. I think it was, it kind of gave more insight into Solange's experience with race, and being in white spaces. And I give her some credit for speaking on that, Even though, Solange isn't like a super duper huge celebrity, like, say, Rihanna, but still, I will give her a checkpoint for speaking out, on issues like this, and putting herself out there, And the crazy thing is, like, the thing is, like, in this particular story where Solange published this article, like, I think a lot of people are kind of like glossing over this story and not really mentioning it. But if they were to do the story, they probably kind of like try to take her words out of context and, just kind of like manipulate the story to have a false narrative. Like Solange said, like, oh, Solange dislikes white people, or Solange doesn't feel comfortable around white people, and making her out to seem like the villain, And I think, this story, perhaps, this story ended up on a website. I forgot the name. I think like Saint Heron, I think. But, I would have probably liked to seen the story ran in like a major publication, And I think if it had been like a bigger celebrity, it may have ended up being picked up by a bigger publication. But yeah, nevertheless, I think that it's kind of like a good story about maybe like like unconscious bias and like microaggressions, you know, and as well as her personal experiences with those things, you know. But, so yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Your feedback and support are extremely appreciated and valued. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.